This video idea came one night while Keith and I were doing a crossword puzzle. One of the answers turned out to be salmagundi. We had no idea what it was or even that it was a food. But as good fortune would have it, we figured we could make it into a great keto meal, which we did. That got us wondering what other undiscovered delicacies were out there. This video shares 3 delicious and unusual keto foods that are as fun to eat as they are to say. Follow this video and you will learn how to make salmagundi, confit, and gribiche. 3 names I worked hard on pronouncing correctly. If you are familiar with them, let me know how I did with my pronunciation. Anyway, I chose these foods because they are fun and delicious to eat together for a perfect keto meal or dinner party that is capped off at only 10 total carbs per serving. And that fits right in with my goal for this channel, which is to bring you free original content that you can easily implement to create an enjoyable and effective diet. I am able to do that thanks to sponsors like Element. If you eat a serving of each of the foods in this video, you will consume just over 10 total carbs. That amount will keep your blood sugar and insulin levels low, which will promote fat loss. It will also signal your kidneys to flush out water and electrolytes. That's not a problem as long as you are replenishing both. I drink Element every day to replenish electrolytes, including potassium, magnesium, and sodium. Supplementing your diet with sodium is a hard thing to do, mainly because we are told to limit salt. That may be true if you eat the standard American diet, which averages 3,400 milligrams of sodium per day. Your body does not need high-carb processed foods, but it does need sodium and other electrolytes. If you are eating a low-carb or low-processed food diet, yet not feeling as good as you think you should, consider adding sodium. You can do that with pickles, olives, or your salt shaker, or you can do what I do and drink Element. I drink it after meals as a stopper, take it on vacation, and drink it after a workout. To get a free sample pack with any drink mix purchase, go to drinklmnt.com/Dr. Becky. Have first access to Element Sparkling, the brand new 16-ounce cans of sparkling electrolyte water. In researching salmagundi, the origin was hard to nail down. One source described it as a magnificent salad that became popular in England during the reign of Queen Elizabeth I. Another simply referred to it as the precursor to today's Cobb salad. Either way, it is a grand salad built with lots of savory ingredients to the point that it becomes a centerpiece for the dinner table. For it to be a true salmagundi, a few ingredients seem to be non-negotiable. The primary one was a salty fish, namely pickled herring or anchovies, that would be placed in the center of the serving plate and raised higher than the other ingredients. Beyond that, the secret seemed to be the layering of flavors. For my keto salmagundi, I included the sharp taste of pickled herring and Gherkin pickles, along with more bland ingredients, which were poached chicken, cooked ham, and hard-boiled eggs that I separated into the chopped whites and chopped yolks because that seemed to be a thing with salmagundi recipes. I then filled in the platter with some crisp, low-carb vegetables, including celery, cucumber, and onion, as well as some greens. I used watercress and parsley. The salad was served with a simple oil and vinegar dressing and lemon slices. Now that is a lot of ingredients to remember. I put them in the video description area below this video for you, so when you are ready to make it, simply come back to this video. The recipe serves 4, and the carbs per serving are just 8.4 total carbs. This could certainly be a meal in itself, but let's make this a party with our featured dish, turkey leg confit. There's a good chance you've heard the word confit before, but could you honestly say what it means and how to utilize it in the kitchen? Maybe you could. I had to read up on it. I love it because it feels fancy, but this method of cooking is not hard to do. That makes it a perfect choice if you don't think of yourself as a cook, but want to impress your guests. Confit is a French word that means preserved. According to Food 52, to confit, food must be cured in salt and slowly cooked in fats at low temperatures. Gifted chefs would make duck confit in duck fat in a Dutch oven. I'm me. I used turkey legs in olive oil in a slow cooker. The recipe was delicious and easy, but you want to marinate the meat overnight in salt, so keep your time frame in mind. I made a salt seasoning by combining coarse sea salt with pepper, a crushed bay leaf, and dried thyme leaves. I sprinkled the salt seasoning over 4 turkey legs and put them in the refrigerator. 24 hours later, I rinsed them to remove excess salt and put them in a slow cooker. I then nearly covered them with olive oil and let them cook for at least 6 hours at the low setting. Now, it took a couple of cups of oil to cover them. I read that you can reuse that oil for frying or seasoning future side dishes by storing it in the refrigerator for 1 month. I did this and it has been fine. When the turkey legs were done, I put them on a baking sheet and placed them in the oven under the broiler for a few minutes until the skin was crisp and golden. Now, what was the nutrition in this meal? It's always a bit of a head scratcher when you have food that is immersed in oil. How much of the fat gets into the food? You could weigh the oil before and after cooking. However, that is still not precise because fat is rendered out of the meat. So I went down a long, painful rabbit hole to figure out how oil is absorbed while cooking. I landed on an explanation from ResearchGate. As it turns out, there are many factors that affect the amount of oil absorbed, but at the end of the day, the uptake of absorbed oil in food can range from 4 to 14% of the total weight, depending upon the food and type of frying medium. I decided to split the difference and say that 9% of the 2 cups of oil was absorbed, which is about 38 grams for the entire recipe. That may be a high estimate because turkey is not porous like processed foods, and some fat actually renders out of meats as they are cooked slowly. Regardless, this is a delicious keto entree with less than 1 gram of carbs per turkey leg. You can put stone ground mustard on the table to use as a dipping sauce and serve it with our final keto recipe, roasted asparagus gribiche. This recipe is based on Susan Pridemore's recipe. I will link to her website so you can see how she made it. Gribiche is described as an egg sauce in French cuisine, and it pairs wonderfully with roasted asparagus. I made a few adjustments to Susan's recipe. I used apple cider vinegar instead of rice wine vinegar, dried herbs instead of fresh, and just dumped all of the egg sauce ingredients in a bowl and mashed them together to make my life easier. Specifically, I put 3 diced hard-boiled eggs in a bowl and mashed them with a fork. I then stirred in minced garlic, vinegar, Dijon mustard, parsley, thyme, and capers. Actually, I made this recipe twice, once with capers and once without. I liked both versions. The last step is to whisk in olive oil. And a nice thing is that you can make this recipe ahead of time and store it in the refrigerator. Then, when you are ready to eat, roast the asparagus and pour the gribiche over the top cold or slightly warm. This side dish comes in at just 1.3 total grams of carbs per serving and goes perfectly with the main entree. Put all of these recipes together and you have a hearty keto menu that serves 4 with only 10.4 total carbs per person. If you serve this for a party, no one will go home hungry or in a carbohydrate coma. And even though this is an impressive spread, it was not hard to make. I put the salt seasoning on the turkey legs a day before making the meal. In the morning, I rinsed them and put them in the crock pot with the oil. I then made the eggs gribiche and stuck it in the refrigerator until dinner time. About an hour before dinner, I assembled the salmagundi, and right before dinner, I roasted the asparagus and then stuck the turkey legs under the broiler for a few minutes. I really hope you try this menu. Even if you tried just one of the recipes, let me know your thoughts on how it tastes and how it was to prepare. Thank you for watching. You will find the recipe ingredients in the description area as well as a link to Element. Enjoy and have a great rest of your day.